Okay, welcome, Roman, and thank you so much for supporting us 3 years in a row.
Is cookie real?
It's real. You can have it, and it's free. Well, I think Nebius paid for it anyway. So.
Okay, we paid for it.
Okay, so guys, Nebius is the hottest infra company in the world, I think. It's not trying to build data centers in space. It's doing way more practical things. A lot of things amaze me, like your Finnish data center recaptures all of the heat and uses it to heat up villages around it. It's all like not consuming too much water. It's like really, really cool technology. But on top of that, I've read that you guys save about 20% on hardware and then pass it to tokens per watt. How do you guys do that?
It's kind of the cool called hottest here in San Francisco in any category. Take it as a credit. Actually, the answer on many things, like how we do it is, like why we do it is kind of because we can. And here you need to go back to how company was created. And a lot of people know, maybe someone doesn't know, that the core team went out of Yandex, and Yandex was a like large Russian, whatever, hyperscaler. We were super lucky just to start with the mix of expertise, with the people who know how to build across the full stack. So we had people who built and operated all the infrastructure of Yandex, people who built servers for many years, because Yandex had like the long history of working with all the vendors, with Nvidia, with Intel, with AMD, and we had like few generations of racks. And obviously we have a team of software engineering that in the past built cloud, and not only cloud, large services, and we have AI expertise. So like we were lucky to start with. We kind of got a feeling from our past, maybe, or experience, you can call it, intuition, that building the full stack will benefit a lot. Even though most of the industry at that moment of the so-called neo-clouds were not building the full stack. People rented data centers, not building, nobody builds hardware. A lot of people actually don't build software or full stack software. And yeah, that was the bet, to build this full stack kind of cloud approach, full stack hyperscaler approach. And now it gives it benefits.
So you operate everything starting from like plumbing and wiring to all the way to now agentic search. Can you tell us a little bit about what types of customers buy what and why do you go like across the whole thing?
Yeah, it's a good question. And we need to look from the customer's perspective. You're absolutely right. And each layer of what we build to address the next or another type of the customers and another archetype of the customers. Most of the media talking about these super large compute deals that we also have. We have Meta, we have Microsoft.
27 billion from Meta, 20 billion from Microsoft, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, approximately 17 and 12, I think, or 7, whatever. So it's a big deal. It's actually a big headers. But what you need to remember when you work only with those customers, that first of all, there are maybe like 10 of customers of this type, all the super labs and hyperscalers. And second, at least we view it that they don't need us for the long term. Why Microsoft buys from us? Why Meta buys from us? Because they just need to move fast. They cannot build physical world fast enough just yet. But eventually, we should probably assume that they will be able to build fast enough. They don't need too much of services. So those largest deals, they come to so-called bare metal. So it's still very interesting engineering task to build data center equipped with, I don't know, few hundreds of thousands GPUs, like interconnected and make it work. Eventually, like they will probably do it themselves. So, and this is the basic layer that serves only this population of the customers. Then, if you think about the next kind of layer, we have here probably also, we have a lot of AI labs or AI research-driven companies that still need like valuable, like scalable compute, but they wouldn't go to the bare metal if they could. They would prefer to work with the managed infrastructure when they don't need to deal with all the hardware issues and so on. And they would benefit from us being kind of providing them managed services. And this is our cloud business, multi-tenant cloud business. And we think that it's difficult to serve hundreds of thousands of customers on this layer if you don't have real kind of software platform, robust services and so on. But then what we noticed is that a lot of people build the products when they even don't think in terms of GPUs or GPU hours or infrastructure. And that's how we came to the managed inference platform. We have the product called Nebius Token Factory, which a lot of people know Fireworks based, and this is kind of this product from this category, when you can come and build and consume in terms of tokens. You don't need to choose the best GPU to run this particular model. You can switch from model to model, and we will take care of optimization for you and so on and so forth. So it's like managed service. And probably that's also not the end. Probably the next layer is when people will even not think in terms of tokens, but think in terms of agents outcomes. And now everybody are the best specialists in the world of what is the best, Qwen, Minimax, or Anthropic of version X for some workload. But eventually we'll end up in the world where a lot of developers will not think in terms of kind of types of the models and types of the tokens and how much tokens needed to execute this task. They will just have something working, and they will need the environment when they can deploy it and run like at scale and reliable. And so this is the logic how we view. So at each layer, eventually we sell compute. So in the simple words, each customer comes for the scaled compute. Bare metal and pay for megawatts. Cloud pay for GPU hours. Tokens, Token Factory pays for tokens. Agentic runs will run for something that we even don't know the name yet, but eventually it will be converted in the compute. But the way how different customers consume is different. And I think what we do differently from many people in this new AI infrastructure world is that we try to follow these different customer profiles and different builders to kind of introduce the next layers of abstraction to simplify the way to consume. So this is how we think about the product in general.
So eventually, as Vanessa just told us, tokens are going down in price dramatically, and I think the report says it's 280 times since last year. Does that affect your margins or the way you see the business, or just like makes you build higher?
You mean, do we affected by the tokens become cheaper?
Yeah.
I thought we closed this topic when DeepSeek was released, and like at 1 week market went down 40%, but then everybody understood that
that was a good deep.
It was a good, yeah. But no, talking seriously, every time we see the new, more efficient way to produce kind of intelligence, if you want, new, cheaper, faster, better tokens, we see that just it unlocks the new growth and the new way, like the new tasks that we can solve. And no, like the cheaper the better. The cheaper we consume, the more we consume, and not we, builders and users eventually. It feels like we still so far from solve most of the tasks and feels like the limitations to solve a lot of the tasks are sitting both in how much intelligence we can get for the given budget and like some plumbing part of the work that we do, like can we build applications and projects like products really kind of production grade and reliable.
Co-founder Arkady said that there are 4 C's needed to run your kind of businesses: capacity, capital, chips, and customers.
Product.
And product. So yeah, so 4 C's and a P. Okay, it's good. It's not just 2 C's and a P. But which ones are now a bottleneck?
Yeah, we were laughing before the section. I said that I'm happy not to be on the supply side of the business. Actually, the team that is building data centers and delivering like capacity, they live in hell because it's all the complications of the physical world. And like people ask sometimes, what is the like main bottleneck in supply? Is it chips? Is it like energy? Is it, I don't know, memory? What is it? And being not professional, I'm asking that it's not none of that. It's actually the real world. So when you need to build like gigawatt AI factory in the real world, in the middle of nowhere, like from the ground up, and equip it with the very expensive, like 1 gigawatt compute is like 40 billion capex, I think, something like that. So you need to deploy it there, and it's so many kind of project problems, complex project problems. In one data center, before we launched it, it was in Israel, so it's maybe like outlier, but we had war, we had fire, we have water fall, and like everything in 6 months. And people talking about like, oh, that project was delayed 2 months or 3 months and so on. But in reality, it's such a compressed work on so many real physical kind of limitations. As an anecdote, in one of data centers, our team decided to build cluster and walls in parallel. So they had, like, they literally didn't when the building will be ready, and they deployed kind of they started assembling the hardware on the floor, and even before the walls were constructed. So it's just you try to cut every corner and like to accelerate it, but you deal with all the physical world. So this is the real challenge. The rest is actually easy, and demand now is obviously easiest part. What difficult in our game is also capital, because we are a small company. Like we're competing with the biggest, with the companies with the biggest balance sheets in the world. And this year we will deploy like $20-25 billion in what we build. And for comparison, and it's not easy for us. For comparison, our like hyperscalers deploy like 180 billion. The challenge for us next year, how we can grow from 25 billion financing to 50 billion or 60 billion. And so this is also very kind of creative work, as you can imagine. Supply for everyone and capital for us to move faster that we would want.
But if you zoom out and take a look at the market, roughly how much more demand there is now than there's supply? Like, is it like a 2 to 1, 1.5 to 1?
The fair answer, I don't know. I can quote what we said publicly in our case in recent earning calls. We said that we have 4 customers for each GPU that we kind of deploy. So we have like few times more demand that like actually we can build in time. I think in general in the market we are pretty much short, and you can think about it like you have Anthropic that I don't know what margin they do, but looks like they have a healthy like gross margin, right? And they told it publicly that the only limitation they have is like how much kind of commit to compute, right? So if the market would be more flexible in like not forcing people to the long-term reservations and so on that like imply a lot of financial risk to the buyer, we would grow much faster. But this comes to the financing, because like we cannot finance too much and take all the risk on the supply side.
That makes sense. Do you think compute ever? We had a really interesting talk just off stage. Do you think compute ever is going to become a commodity that is like tradable like oil?
I think there is 2 complications with that. One is, in reality, compute is not real commodity, because the quality of what you can buy is quite different, and it's really difficult to do the right kind of discounts, you know, for the quality. But what is maybe, and it's very speculative thing. I'm far from being professional in like commodity markets, but what we see now in the market is it's very much dependent on few big buyers and their appetite to buy. And I'm just not sure that you can build really kind of predictable market when the price on the market is very much can be moved by few big kind of players. Like literally, like we have 5-7 players that can push the price significantly for entire market because of their demand.
And geographically, is the world kind of already split into like Chinese companies with Chinese compute and then the Western world with Western compute, or is there some middle ground?
We don't work with China. A lot of Chinese companies buying compute in outside of China. So it's not fully divided world, I would say, geographically. It's also difficult to say that it's fully divided world when most of the products today are built on Chinese open source models, right? So it's not really divided yet. You can divide the workloads in the world in 3 categories from being constrained by location. You have large training jobs, like big labs training, that is regulatory, like more or less regulatory, constrained to be in mainland US. Mm-hmm. And there is a huge demand for the big clusters in US. Then you have inference workloads that partially also location constrained because of latency, but even more often because of data. And then the third, you have rest of training and rest of inference that is actually pretty global. And we see that like we serve customers from not obvious locations just because compute is available there. So it's a mix. So there is a big part of demand that is location constrained, but also a big portion that you can build wherever you can get electricity and infrastructure, and you will not be like latency constrained or data constrained.
Thank you. When we met 2 years ago on our first rabbit hole, I remember you were like planning things in hundreds of millions. Now it's in tens of billions. The company has grown a lot. What is the biggest learning for you? Like what do you know now that you would love?
If you don't sleep, you die. Other than that, no. For me, the most interesting thing and like the challenging thing, we are fairly distributed company and multinational company. Our initial team was very much like Russian speakers biased. Now we have, I don't know, the last report was, I forget, like 60 nations or whatever. And we have few very large hubs, like with a time difference of 10 hours. Different kind of subcultures. Like our GTM team is mostly here in, like its leadership is here in the US and a big part of here in the US. And this is one culture. We have like Russian engineers, original Yandex engineers, and like the culture around them. We have Israeli finance gurus who finance all this party, and this is something else. How this all work together, given that like in 2 years we grew like many times, both in people and like whatever scale, and we barely have time to meet together and like speak together. So this is something that like I didn't understand how it should work at all. It's insane, to be honest. I mean, if 2 years ago you would ask me like what I think we will be in 2 years, it wouldn't be this. It would be this conference, but wouldn't be the rest. And I think that it's a lot about market. It's much more about market than us. Like it wouldn't exist if the market wouldn't be so crazy. But it's also about few very important decisions that we made. Building this full stack product, focusing on diversified customer portfolio, not just going the easier way of serving like handful of super large customers, betting on software, like betting on software engineering a lot. Those were like few decisions that were initially made, and they defined a lot of things that happened after that.
You built a very practical company and very risk-averse company that does not like try to do breakneck things. Is there anything that still keeps you awake at night, other than jet lag? And
no, everything. It's a very execution-driven business. Like everything we discuss, like it might disappear, like if the execution will not be in place on all the layers. Supply, customer success, product, like we launch new products, they don't work, and like you need to go all the cycle from the very beginning, and it's just the execution. I think I just like maybe a few months ago stopped to panically check all the Slack channels with the customers every morning, because there are some bots now that check it, and also because we like have this kind of more sustainable system with people and so on. It's the execution, and again, I'm even in a better place than like, for example, folks that work on supply and they have all these fires and what's not.
And wars and
truck was stalled with the computers, or like anything.
Oh my God, this is insane. Man, thank you so much for joining us. And
thank you.
I think we might we can maybe take one question from the audience. Like, anyone is eager to ask Roman about the future of compute?
Are you guys using any custom accelerators like the TPUs or the XPUs from Broadcom or any of the like Marvell of the world?
We in production we have Nvidia only. And I can explain like why. In R&D we have everything, and we work with like, I think we work with every vendor. Like not every, like there are a lot of new startups, but even from startups we work with few. We test everything. We try to kind of be aware of what's going on, but we look at this very practically. As Nick said, like we track the bottlenecks. And now bottlenecks are in like data center capacity. First of all, if you would have more data center capacity, we would grow faster. And then if your limitations as data center, you need to decide like what to put there to maximize your business. And in reality, we don't have any single reason just yet, maybe, to put something other than Nvidia, because everything that we can build on a physical level, we can sell with Nvidia with the healthy margins, but also we don't need to build like multi-vendor operations, and we can partner with Nvidia on the like very closely and so on and so forth. So at the moment when we'll come to the place when either customers will knock the door and every third customer will ask us something else, or we will be able to build and finance more than we can supply with Nvidia, that will be a very practical kind of question, should we diversify? But we are not yet there, maybe just because we're small.
Big pleasure hearing your understanding of how you guys building your business layer after layer. I very much enjoy your openness. Do I understand you correctly that your point is like what you do for Microsoft and for Meta in the short term is a fantastic deal for you because you have a huge scale, you can grow fastly, but you are trying to be as smart as possible by understanding that that capacity might not be needed by them because they might build their own. You will already put more and more layers on top of that, and instead of trying to run after all things at once, you do it methodically, layer after layer. Because I remember our first conversations with you, I tried to pitch your agentic AI stuff a couple of years ago, and now I see how methodically you are. And do I understand correctly? That's how you do things.
Yeah. Yes. There are so many good points there. So first of all, yes, those deals actually are very important for us because they help us to grow and finance the rest of the business. Yes, we don't want to stuck there, and we want to like have more diversified portfolio. Not only because we're curious, but also because Actually, it's much better business to serve many customers rather than few. And yes, we have, I call it the advantage of second mover advantage. We are in a quite good place to see what's going on the layers above, and actually, we're trying to be in the right time where we need to be. We are slow, though. We need to move faster and much faster, but we don't think we need to build too much things. We try to focus on part of the stack that is benefiting from this vertical integration of compute. So every single service that we bring, we should answer the question why we will do it better than others, and mostly we answer through the vertical integration. That we will do better total cost of ownership, better performance, better scalability, whatever. We don't need to build all the tools. We better partner with people. We don't need to build all the, I don't know, we don't need to build our own length chain to help people build agents. But when people build agents and they bring them in production and they need to run and scale, that's where we can create the value, because we can do the runtime that works kind of more efficient. And so we try to kind of be very focused on what we can do better than people who are not sitting on vertically integrated infrastructure.
Okay, no worries. Thank you so much, Roman.